Douglas Corrigan took to the skies with a dream in his heart and stars in his eyes. But when he flew, something went amiss. His compass confused, it gave him a twist. He said, I'm going the wrong way, but hey, it's a scenic display. With a wink and a grin, he flew with delight. Douglas Corrigan, what a sight. He built his plane, the spirit of St. Louis, but his navigation skills, well, they were a doozy. Followed the manual, but somehow it seemed he put it together like a flight of dreams. He said, I'm going the wrong way, but hey, it's a scenic display. With a wink and a grin, he flew with delight. Douglas Corrigan, what a sight. So here's to Douglas, the king of the sky. With his wrong turns and laughs, he'll always fly high. He may have gone off course, but in the end, Douglas Corrigan, he's still our friend. So here's to Douglas, the king of the sky. With his wrong turns and laughs, he'll always fly high. He may have gone off course, but in the end, Douglas Corrigan, he's still our friend. In 1903, Reagan took a stand, proposed Star Wars across the land, a space-based defense to thwart attack. But did it happen? Well, not quite, Jack. Star Wars, a missile defense in space, Reagan's dream for the human race. But alas, it fizzled out like a shooting star. Star Wars never happened, just a bit bizarre. Star Wars never happened, just a bit bizarre. Star Wars never happened, just a bit bizarre. Space-based lasers and satellites high. Reagan's vision reached for the sky, but the practicalities, they proved the fight. Star Wars remained in the realm of night. Star Wars, a missile defense in space, Reagan's dream for the human race. But alas, it fizzled out like a shooting star. Star Wars never happened, just a bit bizarre. Star Wars never happened, just a bit bizarre. Star Wars never happened, just a bit bizarre. So here's to Reagan and his cosmic quest. Star Wars a dream.
In 1857, in the heart of the city, Elisha Otis stood tall, full of wit and gritty. He installed a contraption unheard of before, a modern elevator for people to soar. Otis, the hero of the stairs, with his invention he banished all cares. Otis, the hero of the stairs, with his invention he banished all care. Each line, but it wasn't just elevators that he had in his mind. Otis tackled problems most ludicrous kind. From escalators to moving walkways, he did aspire to revolutionize vertical transport, reaching ever higher. Otis on his vertical transport, reaching ever higher. Otis, the hero of the stairs, with his invention he banished all cares. Otis, the hero of the stairs, with his invention he banished all cares. Oh, here's to Otis, the hero of the vertical. With his inventions, our lives he did mend. Oh, so crucial, from first modern elevator to escalators wide. Otis, the hero, forever in our pride. Otis, the hero of the stairs, with his inventions our lives he did mend. Oh, so crucial, from the first modern elevator to escalators wide. Otis, the hero, forever in our pride.
Hi everybody. So there's nobody here because I have to stop this.
Okay, was coined a phrase for Lord. Okay, off to reach life. Okay, it started as a joke, but now it's everywhere, it's never
I
broke.
can't find one. This happens all the time.
Okay, it started as a joke, but now it's everywhere, it's
Because
never
now you can hear the background. Wait,
When the Boston Post at first appeared.
I think I found it. Okay, so if I'm talking, I need to turn off the other thing. Yeah. And now we're too far away. We need to go here. Yay! So today there's not that many interesting things. Well, it's the Queen's birthday. Yeah. I wanted to do like a sourcing. We're gonna work on John Muir because it's his birthday today and he's the father of the is my sound good? No, my sound is very low. I think I'm gonna solve John Muir today. That doesn't mean it's gonna work, but like he's the one I'm interested in right now, right this moment. So I've had to redo my whole thing because my other computer died. So it's very wretched. Yeah. Alright, and then my sound is not that loud, unfortunately. I'm very sorry about this. I don't know why. Like I've bought 2 microphones that cost $80 and the first one is broken and the second one I can't really get it to work properly. But anyhow, now you can hear me. So yeah, we'll go through the birthdays today. I just wanted to make sure I had all my info about John Muir so I could do the solving. So I'm Mahidin, and every day I research all the things that I'm going to show you. I research all the events and the birthdays of the day because it's my random thing. It's not random because everything is scheduled, but it's kind of fun. I don't know what to expect each day. I just open my thing and I look at the people who celebrate their birthday. So if I'm on interact, I can actually do something, right? Oh, all right. So the first thing that I have is always the people whom I have nice pictures for. I have too many windows. Obviously, I have 2 Mozilla Firefox windows open. I don't know how that happened. I have to be able to find my way to you if I want to be able to see your questions. So where are those? There they are. Okay. So I have 1 viewer. I'm expecting 1 viewer. So we're good. So far we're good. Um, yeah. So today it's the birthday of Saint Januarius from 300. So I have this picture of him. Is that it? That all my portraits? That's it? No, there's more. So today is the birthday of the Queen, and she's the weird one. Why is it only showing one? Like, this isn't fun. It was working before, and before my problem was that um, it was going too fast. Like, what's the point of having this if it doesn't work when I do live? All right, I'm gonna work with what I have and I'll reload the other thing. So today is the birthday of Ulysses Grant. No? Why is he showing up? Oh, yeah. It's not the birthday of Ulysses Grant, it's the birthday of Hannibal Goodwin. So there he is. Again, you can't see his face because it's not centered properly. Hannibal Goodwin. So yeah, that's the guy who made the nitrocelluloid base, which made the films that could. I think these were the ones that spontaneously combusted. But anyhow, so he was from the clergy, but he created this, so he's known as an inventor. And he was born just about the same time as Ulysses S. Grant, who was the commanding general during the Civil War. The second one, I've forgotten the first one, Henry Halleck. All right, so Hannibal Goodwin and Ulysses S. Grant form a twin batch. How do I explain why? So Ulysses S. Grant is from George and George. So they're not tagged to Hannibal Goodwin, but I can tell you that Ulysses S. Grant was made to win the Civil War by King George. And the woman who was matched with him, she is the absolutely amazing writer Georges Sand, who was a French writer, and she used the name George because she liked to dress as a man, because women who enjoyed hanging out with men back then, they had to do that. They had to dress as a dude so that they could go into the places where all the guys hung out. So that's why most of the pictures of Georges Sand are of her dressed as a man. But she's she's registered a whole bunch of kids in the Xanadu blockchains, and they are absolutely fantastic. Very, very appreciated, and they're people who do great things. So the thing with Georges Sand, is that she is from Dalton, who was a scientist. So Hannibal Goodwin is the dream come true of his grandfather in that sense. That's always what I'm trying to find. So I have another dude who was big into films. So Edison's co-worker. So George, he's the guy who made the film. It happened on 23rd Street. In New York, which is the movie where Florence Georgie gets her dress blown up. She has a white dress that blows up. Yeah, so he made the film that serves as the registration event of Gladys Pearl Baker, who is the woman who raised Marilyn Monroe partly in the beginning. So the woman who's credited as being her mom. She's not, but she was made in order to raise Marilyn Monroe as best she could, but she couldn't. So, yeah. So, doppelganger, Vladimir Lenin. So, there's interesting things that pop up. See, they're born a day apart, and you know what? Like, Thomas Edison sent a lot of kids to Russia. And yeah, and so Edwin S. Porter was born in 1870, which is 23 years after Thomas Edison was born. So what you're looking at here are people who might be from Thomas Edison. But I have him from, this is Gustave, yeah, that's Gustave, not Lumiere, but Gustave. Why does it not write his name? It's supposed to write his name. So I have to go into my thing. So there's still integrations that are missing, and the thing unfortunately reboots by itself. So yeah, that should be interesting. And then they're random. So now I'm stuck because I can't find my thing. There he is. We're going to continue here. Right. So I have him registered to Gaston Méliès. And technically Vladimir Putin should be registered to Gaston Méliès as well. So Gaston Méliès, like the older brother of Georges, and he was a business guy, you know, like Gaston was very, very business. And yeah, George was a filmmaker, so. Oh, Queen Elizabeth. All right, so the thing with Queen Elizabeth is really complicated. But what I have right now kind of makes sense. Okay, Queen Elizabeth represented the ownership of the world. So the ownership of, well, it's, the world is easily, it's like the British Empire, but you have to add to this, you know, Russia, Japan, who else is the United States, France, like these are the cluster of countries that represent the world. So it's all the old world cities, the places where people are very cosmopolitan, and the world is somewhat physical, but it's mostly a mindset. You know, it's the people who care about what the queen is up to. It's the people who care about, you know, what celebrities do. It's really the people who pay attention to media and know a lot. They are inhabitants of the world, you know. And all the people who don't care about what the queen is up to, that they you know, like they live in a village, and they already have their whole thing set up, like they're not specifically part of the world that, you know, the queen seeks to speak to. So she represents the ownership of the world, but the buildings, you know, like when the United States Old World building were being refitted, it was George III that, you know, had the whole list of stuff that was on the American continent that belonged to the crown. And they decided, like, who's going to pretend to be the architect of this thing or this thing or this thing. And they started distributing the assets of the world. So that's what the world is. So the physicality of the world belongs to the queen. She represents that. The Pope, which is her counterpart, he represents the ownership of the actual people. You know, like the ownership of the mindset through religion. You know, the queen does it through partisanship, like royal partisanship, and the Pope does it through religion. And together they're supposed to have everything covered. you know. So yeah, so that's how it works. Of course, the way that I'm explaining this is absolutely not historical. It's not supported by anybody or whatever. I'm just talking to you from the registration system that the queen uses to register her truth. You don't have to believe her. So I always look at people's conception day. So 9 months and 6 days. So the ideal date is 280 days before the birthday is the titular conception date. And it's about 9 months and 6 or 7 days. So for Queen Elizabeth, she has a registration on July 13, 1925, 9 months before she was born. So it is the wedding of Walt Disney with Lillian Bounds, who she was an animator at his studio. So I have Walt Disney, who was born in 1901. So Walt Disney is Walt Disney. Everybody knows who he is. And then you have Lillian Disney. So these two people got married just for the purpose of making the queen. So thank you, Lillian Bounds, for, like organizing your schedule so that Walt could register Queen Elizabeth. So Queen Elizabeth is the highest ranking Disney princess in this realm, or at least that's who she was when she was queen. And the reason why she comes from Walt Disney and not from her dad is because Walt Disney is the previous owner of all that is physical in this world. So we live inside an amusement park that was disaffected, right? The world is a disaffected amusement park that had a whole bunch of theater states on it with a whole bunch of buildings and things like that. And the person who's responsible in the end for making sure all of that stuff is tidied up is Walt Disney, because he is the forever reincarnating spirit of John Hammond. And John Hammond is the owner of this realm. So his daughter is the owner of this realm. You see, it makes sense because there are people beyond our umbrella of culture who follow this stuff. They want to make sure, okay, is the queen the actual representative of the guy who frickin' owns this place? Because if she isn't, it's kind of problematic. She can't speak with authority about the ownership of everything. Again, it's not about money. I never talk about money because this isn't about money. This is about ensuring that the things that have been inherited from the old world are properly taken care of, distributed, refitted for public service, used for something cool, or destroyed completely and removed from the ground, So there's a lot of history of the United States that is not included in the history of the United States. It's all of the reshuffling of all the stuff that was in America, before pre-Columbian days. So of course, we're supposed to think that nothing happened pre-Columbus in the United States except, like native tribes running around. But in reality, there was something else before that. And the 1800 to 1850, there's not much going on. I try to research this time in the United States, and there's not much going on. There's like a dozen actors who keep showing up in all of the news articles about stuff that's happening in the United States. And it's all interesting, it's all beautiful. People write nice books about the gold rush and stuff like that. We know the Little House on the Prairie existed because somebody wrote a book about it. Like it's all part of our understanding of the history of the United States, but it seems highly artificial when you start poking at it and scratching a little bit. So anyhow, I'm telling you that Queen Elizabeth was the daughter of Walt Disney, and there's a reason for it. There's a very important reason for it. Queen Elizabeth II must represent the owner of this realm. Now, Walt Disney, he reincarnated and he continued to do the work of disclosing useful information about the history of this realm, the format of this realm, why he made human beings, and what we represent what we represent at the planetary level, but what we can aspire to at the galactic level. So there's like a lot of stuff that's really interesting about Walt Disney. He's a really cool guy, actually. I kind of like him. So I've always been obsessed with Disney World since I was a kid. The amusement park, like how it's made. Like I like how amusement parks are made. I like how experiences are created for people. And so I've always been a huge fan of Walt Disney for that. So Lillian, so she has a twin. She technically has an official twin. And so it's reloaded again. So I'm going to go into the thing. Damn it. I see if I have questions. Hey Tara. Miss Davis. Do I have Davis people today? I don't think I have Davises today. All right. Well, Disney. My thing is annoying. Okay, there's technically a twin. She technically has a twin. 2 days later, Torbjörn Fälldin, Prime Minister of Sweden. See, in 3 non-consecutive cabinets. Very popular guy. But if you look at him, like he also looks... See, he also has another twin, Tim LaHaye. See, these 2 guys look exactly the same. They both look like they'd be from Lillian Bounds with someone. And I think I know which someone it is, but I don't have it in this presentation. So, yeah, the Lady Lion as mother of Queen Elizabeth. Like, these 2 are really funny. I keep watching videos of them when they were younger. And, like, Queen Elizabeth is so from the Lady Lion. It's really funny. Yeah, and Walt Disney comes in, sideways, and this creates a storyline for the people beyond the scene. So there's the scene, there's actors on the whole world's a stage. There's actors on the scene, but we're watching them. But there's other people beyond, like our storyline that, whoops, sorry, ouch. That are also watching the actors on the stage, and the actors on the stage have to, tell them a story as well. So that's why, like we're stuck in this situation where we're in such negativity right now. It's because the enemy of humanity has been made to think they're winning for 25 years. And this is the toxicity that's in the media. It's why we have gore porn on TV. It's why everything is, everybody is always yelling at each other and all that stuff. Because the media is trying to make our enemy think they're winning. But we don't have to pay attention to it. So I have Charlotte Bronte of the Bronte sisters. I don't have anything for her, so we could do her next. And then I have John Muir, which is the guy I was more interested in doing today. So just before we started, I made a portrait of him. It came out interesting because I like the impasto, and I got a lot of impasto on him. Gives him brittle. It gives him, yeah. And then there's Gladys Mitchell, and yeah, she's a detective novel writer. So this person is probably associated to a very popular, narrative group that draw from her Like she's doing disclosure most likely for some people, and we just have to find out who it is, and then we'll get some information, and we can look at her registration. So I have a registration for her, but it's the first Pan African conference, which was held in London. See, and so the person who put this on is Henry Sylvester Williams. And the founder of the Pan-African movement. And so he is black. What's really interesting is that they look alike, you know, like he is from somebody who is related to her, that's for sure. So it's more interesting like who he's from. And the person who so the person who registered Gladys Mitchell is Queen Victoria, but Queen Victoria just passed, you know, at the time. So, yeah, we just Victor. See, they look alike even, which is kind of mysterious. Wait, when was she born? Yeah, 1901. Like, no, it's not Victoria, but yeah, Victoria has so many daughters. It's kind of hard to know. But, you know, Victoria is the queen. She can do whatever she wants. She can initiate conceptions whenever she wants. But she is the one that's always pushing everybody, that was always pushing everybody to write that shit down. So if she didn't write somewhere, like who is actually the DNA providers of the children that she sponsors, then, you know, like she's not doing the thing that she says everybody else should be doing. So I can count on Victoria to write that stuff down somewhere. It's just that it takes a while. So I'll have to. So for Gladys Mitchell, she looks like Annie Besant. I don't know how old Annie Besant was. Yeah, I think it might be Annie Besant because she really, really looks like Annie. And also she went into, you know, like writing mystery novels and stuff like that. And Annie Besant was a social activist though, but she probably, like these are people who jumble stories. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. Okay, Gladys Mitchell writes spy novels. Okay, detective novels. This is a favorite kind of literature of Queen Victoria. I remember when Aleister Crowley or Edward Alexander had his first meeting with Queen Victoria, she told him to write. He was 15 years old. Aleister Crowley never wrote the kind of things that Queen Victoria wanted to read. Yet she had such a crush on him, like ever since he was like 15 or even. It was kind of amazing. Like she was completely obsessed with him. I was too. Anyhow, there's a reason for it. I'll explain it eventually. But yeah, it's like Queen Victoria, every single time she had a young person in front of her, you know, she was accepting in Her Majesty's Secret Service. She wasn't like making them spies when they were like 15 or 16. No, she just wanted to catch them and have an opportunity to look at them very seriously and say, you're going to write books, you're going to write poems, you're going to write articles, you're going to describe what's around you. And she didn't just do that just to get something to read because she was, you know, she loved the Sherlock Holmes stuff. But she did that because, what did she tell the young kids? She says, write that down now, even though you're not important, because eventually you might be, or what you write might become important. You know, like she took for granted that what we wrote down would become important later on because it'd be useful to other people. So yeah, so that was really like her thing. So Gladys Mitchell is, you know, like I say, she's obviously the dream come true of her grandmother. You know, like you look at them, you can totally see that Gladys Mitchell comes from a daughter of Queen Victoria. So yeah, so the next step is always to look into what she wrote, like who her main character is, who it could represent in real life and all that. And this is wonderful because everything we need to know has been written down. So I have Edwin Porter. Okay, so this is my people for today. Tomorrow there's other people. John Oliver celebrating his birthday. Ooh, Edwin Markham. Handsome man. I used to write that he was handsome in the newspaper. Like there's like literally a quote in the newspaper from 2 lifetimes ago from me that says how cute he was. Like I like his face. Shirley Temple, so United States Ambassador to Ghana and to Czechoslovakia, and the chief of the protocol of the United States. All right, so she is the poster child of the Ghost Army baby. Shirley Temple, she was a star in pre-code films that are called baby burlesque, where little kids do stupid shit. Yeah, these things were specifically aimed at, like getting phone calls from pedophiles. I'm sorry, but that's how Hollywood works. They show you stuff that's triggering, and then, the people who are around Shirley Temple started getting attention from weirdos. And the weirdos are just like too happy to tell you how they want access to the little girl and all that stuff. This is how you de anonymize people. You show them triggering media, and then you take their number. So, and all the kids who do this when they are very young, then they're always assumed to be, like MK Ultra, sex slaves, or whatever. No, this is just a storyline to attract perverts to Hollywood. So usually these kids, that they appear in these sort of psyops, then they go on usually to have an absolutely wonderful career and to appear they get a big reveal in film. Like they suddenly come out of a box. Woo! And the person who once, like desired the child and told somebody is supposed to, feel very, very small if they haven't been arrested already for organizing more and paying money. Because you can't really prove that somebody has an intent unless they sort of write a contract and you take their money. At that point, the person's intention is written down in stone and they can't get away from it. All right, so Shirley Temple, and then she eventually became a very important person in the government, and she represented the United States, and she was, she's absolutely wonderful. She's done the entire cycle of starting as a baby in baby burlesque and going all the way to the top of the government and representing the United States internationally. That's the whole point of all the little kids who are born into the system. They're supposed to become people who go everywhere and meet everyone. Again, I'm going to replace it. I'm going to repeat this because it's important. The whole point of having a carefully curated Christ bloodline of people who make gifts to humanity and invent things and write things down and animate culture is so that we can easily connect to a collective consciousness full of everybody's wow moments. Like it's universal remembering. It's really cool. It's a beautiful place, our unified field, our Christ consciousness. The other thing is that because we are of the family of Christ, we're made from something that is that is anterior to all the other beings that are in this realm. So we are technically cosmically or universally anterior to all the beings of low vibration that are in this realm, because for 300 years we've always been renewed with cherub energy. That's like 11D stuff and 12D stuff. So we're like babies from creation. And the idea is that, and it's totally like Jesus work, like Jesus is God, so like Jesus is a snapshot of God. That is anterior and to everybody else. So Jesus, his job very specifically was to walk everywhere, meet everyone, become friends with everyone. This is the job of everybody who's born in the Christ bloodline and is initiated when they're younger, and then eventually they're given a life role when they're in their 20s, but yeah, they know that their job is to be everywhere and meet everyone. You can't find out what people want in life and, you know, separate the good people from the bad people if you don't sincerely try to become their friends. And yeah, like the attitude of being afraid of everybody is completely anti-Christic. Christ would never do that. You know, he's going to go up to everybody and meet everybody and ask them questions, listen to who they are, what they want, and all that stuff. That's what celebrities do, basically. People, that's the work of a celebrity, and people don't think about it because they are going to the celebrity because the celebrity is attractive, you know? All the people in the family of, in the temple, Shirley Temple, it's perfect, her name. All the people who are connected to the temple inside, you know, like they are profoundly attractive. So the Templars, Shirley would be the little girl of the Templars. Shirley looks inside for her guidance. The universe is inside you. The collective conscious is inside you. You have it inside you, everything that you need to complete your journey. And you are supposed to project that outside, and you have to listen. You have to sincerely go and meet everyone and listen to everyone to find out what they want out of life. And this is how it's an attractive thing also. We don't run after the Minotaur. We go into the maze to meet the Minotaur, and if the Minotaur sees us, you know, we're supposed to walk back out of the maze to bring the Minotaur out of the maze so that it can be slayed by the right people. This is the story of the thesis, and this is why the people who do this work are all members of one family. So yeah, that's my spiel. So Lucius D. Clay, yeah. So most of the people I have in my database are all senior officers of the United States Army or the United States government, or they are actors and actresses who are linked to national security people. And I just look at what they do, and yeah. Oh, this guy is interesting. Martin Trump. The first Trump. So this guy is an explorer. So explorer class, a professional from the Queen is the guy with the highest security clearance in this realm. The explorers, they go all the way to the edge. They really have a very specific mandate from the Queen to explore everything and write that shit down and meet everybody and, yeah, bring back information to the Queen. So all the explorers work for the Queen, and the Queen is the director of the embargo of the Edge. So she doesn't she doesn't necessarily allow for the release of everything. The idea is for her explorers to describe the Edge. You know, like because there's no wall technically. You know, like we could keep going. You know, beyond. But we are educated to a format of our realm, and everything that is beyond this, you know, is beyond the edge. So all of the people who are doing exploration, who are describing going to the bottom of the sea, into space, they all have an explorer class. Above everything else, security clearance from the Queen. And so if they see something weird, they have to bring that back to the Queen, and she's going to decide what happens next. So what's weird is the one thing that you can research is if you go to Antarctica, there's like this 30-mile hole, you know, a sudden depression in the land. And there are 12 countries that are the first signatories of the Antarctic Treaty in 1959, and they're working there. You're not allowed to fly over this thing. There's a no-fly zone, and you can, like, there are some people that have published photos of it from far away, who sort of gives you the idea of it's a sunken hole. So this would be the example of a weird thing that needs to be brought back to the Queen that she will not allow the description of fully. But we do know it's important because there are members of, like, how many nations are in the Antarctic Treaty now? There used to be 12, but now I think there's 30 of them. So everybody is concentrating on this one whole. And I believe that this is the principal access point to another realm, another world. And this is it's always referred to as another world, brave, strange new world, brave new world. It's when you have the word world, it's talking about just like our culture within this planet. And then another world would be like an access point to another reality. That's something that's completely different than what we're used to. So to me, like all of the people who wonder about the format of this Earth, and all the space stuff, they are put into the concentration camp of the flat Earth movement, and the media absolutely never talks about any sort of Earth format, old world stuff. They absolutely never allow this in the mainstream. So they just like put this thing over it and says, "Oh, these stupid people, they think the Earth is flat," you know. And meanwhile, these people are studying inner Earth. You know, you can't have inner Earth unless you have a globe Earth. You know, so the flat Earth thing is just a concentration camp that was invented by the media in order to prevent people from wondering about the format of this realm. But it's not secret specifically, because there are treaties that govern the access to places that are, interesting to the whole global community, as it's Antarctica. You can research this. It's just that, generally speaking, the media that's very popular is kind of dumb. It's just making people bicker about the controversial answer to the wrong question, or, like making fun of people who have different opinions, inventing straw man so that the people who watch TV can feel better than the people who are dumber than a bag of rocks. Like all of mainstream media, you can totally ignore, because it's just about making very stupid people feel smarter than their neighbor. And it's just about making people afraid of their neighbor who might be thinking weird things that they found on the internet, And so the media has been very, very anti-Christic over the last little while, because they stoke division between people. They make people afraid of each other. All right, why do I can't find my way around. We want to do John Muir, so that's what I want to do right now, because I promised Michelle that I'd solve someone and I do it with the stuff. So now I just need to find my place. I'm supposed to look at this. All right. So I have this. If I do, might not work, but I'm supposed to put something in here, and that is 14504. See, I made this thing where I just put a number and it's supposed to do what I need, and I don't. Thanks, Tara, for sending in messages. All right, so it's at 41 minutes that we're going to be doing John Muir. Okay, so this is just like all the information that I have about him. John Muir was a naturalist, a botanist, a man who wrote a whole bunch of interesting stuff. He is the one that popularized the idea of having national parks. So he's the father of the national parks. So whenever you have somebody who has the father of in their name, it's because they are an important father. They have a lot of children, or of course, they invented something. They invented an idea. They innovated. But if they wind up with the name father of in history, it's because they were kind of appreciated by the ladies. And the king of also, it means it's kind of like the same thing. So he's the father of the national parks. So, okay. So if I want to find out where the heck he comes from, I have to look at the events from 1837 from July 5 to July 25. So I think I have the ability to. Which one is it? Is it here? Yeah, I think it's here. I'm gonna do web now, which is not something I could do before. This, yeah, okay, so that works. That kind of works. Okay, so if I go to the Xanadu Blockchain Date Explorer, use this. It makes it easier. You know, you go to the bottom and you enter the date of birth. And John Muir was, damn it, I always forget. So it's 1832, is it? 1832, 421. Because it's supposed to give me the same thing. So now, I shouldn't. So I have to look at this. Okay, so does it work if I bring it down? Yeah, it does work. Okay. So what it does, when you enter a birthday into the Date Explorer, it'll pop you back to this one. But wait a second. 37. I didn't put in the right date. So it's 38 actually, the right date. I'm gonna go do it again. Explorers I don't do. So in my Explorer of events, it says between the 5 and 26 because I have a long exploration, but this just tells you the conception date, July 15, 1837, and the thing that it's going to give you is it's going to send you to Wikipedia. So I use Wikipedia. You can use Wikipedia and feel confident that 99% of the time there will be an indication in Wikipedia about what you're looking for, simply because the people who started Wikipedia, they researched Xanadu. I can totally see it in how they write. So we're looking at around July 5. So I go in here. So I have Charles W. King set sail on the American merchant ship Morrison. In the Morrison incident, he is turned away from the Japanese ports with cannon fire. Okay, so this guy, what is he? He is an explorer. He has been sent by the Queen to go make friends in Japan. It did not work. All right, so now at the same time, who do we have? We have Queen Victoria. Because, do you see the same thing that I see? Because I can't really see it. But anyhow, like if I do this, no, if I do this, do you see it? Yeah, you can see it. You can see me highlight stuff. So Queen Victoria, she simply moved from one place to another. That's it. You know, it's not very complicated. But right now what I have is I have Charles W. King. And he doesn't really have his own page, which is really strange. Here you have an explorer who Queen Victoria goes out of her way, like I said before, she's a queen. She doesn't have to give a fuck. She doesn't have to do something that's going to wind up in the permanent record every time she decides to, she says, go do something, or, she conceives children. She doesn't have to, but she does. So see, she did something at the same time as Charles W. King was on his way to Japan. So he doesn't have, no, he doesn't have a thing. So what we do is I'm going to put his name in here. Charles William King. He does have a Wikipedia. Dude has a Wikipedia. But he was a gem expert. Oh, this is really even better. But what it's telling me is that it's not the same Charles W. King as the one who sailed? Like, what the heck? 1837. This dude was born 1818. So if it was him, he would be barely 17. So exactly the time when Queen Victoria catches the young people and asks them to write. So he was a writer. So I know that this guy was one of the first people who was, like vacuum into the Queen Victoria's, in Her Majesty's Secret Service, This is interesting because this is a William King. And William King is the expression of the oldest being in the universe. William King. So, but I don't know that it's him. See? So now I have a mystery. I have an international incident in Japan that is attributed to a Charles W. King who was on a boat. And we're sure that this boat was sent by Queen Victoria because, it came from her. And Queen Victoria goes out of her way to also do something at the same time. She knows that he's over there doing his thing and she can't hear from him. But, before he left, she organizes the first conception. This guy was the perfect age. So yeah, this guy totally has the same profile as Edward Alexander, or the guy who became Aleister Crowley, taken in by Queen Victoria in Her Majesty's Secret Service at 15. And what did she tell him? Right. And this is exactly what Aleister Crowley did for 10 years. And then she promised him, like, if he wrote, that he would eventually, he'd be elevated by the people who needed to elevate him. So what Queen Victoria does when she, like, if this is the guy and she took him in, that means he was assigned some astounding dudes as his mentors. Queen Victoria always provided great mentors for her young men. That's interesting. So now I have to research this guy. I have to add him in my database, and he's a Charles King. He's a William King, I'm supposed to record the story of William King. Yeah. Look, William King from heaven, he lives on King Ranch. That's why his name is King. And see King Ranch, it's in, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, it's in Texas, right here on the right. And it's the largest ranch in the United States. It is 825,000 acres. Okay, as above, so below. We have King Ranch here because in heaven there's a King Ranch. And this is like all the information that I have about the reality that's outside of this one happens there on this ranch. And so that's why here Texas is so incredibly important in this moment. And everybody who is working on our ascension, they come from Texas. They live in Texas. So it's just an important place. And see, Captain Richard King was the guy who started this ranch. And if you look at who made this guy, it's the Queen of Heaven. So the queens that are here, the three queens, they've been working on our culture for our education and our culture for hundreds of years. They are making here as above, as above, so below. But we're supposed to be better. Like there's certain things that we're supposed to be to figure out for ourselves that they have trouble with in heaven. And Interstellar by Christopher Nolan, it's an excellent thing to watch, because you see the guy in there, the engineer who was played by Matt McConaughey. You see the challenges that he has. He lives on a farm. It's King's Ranch. He lives on a farm, and there's the desertification problem. There's a dust bowl. So in heaven, they are later than us. Like it's the Blade Runner 2048 or whatever. They're later than us, and that's their problem. Like they're 25 years down the line, immense dust bowl. So this is something that happened in the United States in the past. There was a dust bowl, and this is something that could happen again. And it would cause a drastic drop in the quality of life of all the people in the south of the United States, and it would also cause a problem in the appropriation of, like certain stuff. We still have almonds and avocados, even though they're grown in California, and California had a water problem for the longest time, and these things take a lot of water to grow. Yeah. So yeah, but anyhow, I was trying to do John Muir, but this is what I have. So I don't have a twin for him. For John Muir, I would like to have a twin. So then you go into the twin research right here, and it's gonna give you IMDb. Of course, IMDb doesn't work for 1838. That would be very old people in films. Maybe we'll do it. We'll go see what IMDb says. There's one person. Okay, so František Ferdinand Sandberg. So František is an interesting name because I've seen it used by somebody else. So this is a guy who died on Christmas Day in Austria-Hungary. He's interesting. And he wrote Genedid or something. So he wrote a film that came out in 1925, and it's got interesting people. It's got Haas people, Havel people. These are names that I see all the time. Richter. Yeah. My dinner is ready, and it is now 9 o'clock. But it's cool. Like I've gotten this in within an hour. Usually it takes a lot longer. But yeah, you just like the idea is to look at everyone, and it doesn't necessarily make sense. Like this guy, I don't know what his cultural bubble is because I've never really looked at the work of yeah. So I use as you can see, I only use I'm gonna figure out how to center this so we see it better, but I only use like websites like On This Day, The Famous People, The Numbers, IMDb, Google, because you can totally Google like films that came out on that date, and Google is gonna tell you. And it's gonna have a few websites that do the same thing because there's a lot of aggregation websites. And what I've noticed is that these sites are good because of all the people in Her Majesty's Secret Service. They are obligated to make gifts to humanity and write shit down. So their name is in the public record. There is a bio of theirs that they took time to write down what they were up to, what they thought was interesting, what they wanted to see happen in the future. So you go you go look into this, and this is how you sort of discover the progression of ideas. So he's from so I look to find on this day, just on this day, you can Google on this day with the date and it's going to give you the exact page. And this is for intellectuals. Like all the cool intellectuals are in there, and sometimes they have a little profile. But generally for the bios, I'm going to use Wikipedia. I've done 17,000 people, and I found that in about 10 cases, there was a difference in the birthday of the people. See, that's a very, very low instance. Everybody agrees on the things that I research: the birthday, the name, the place where they were born, their photo, what they did for a living, and stuff like. Nobody like I'm not researching things that people fudge in their Wikipedia. I just research the meta, and this is very easy. When I come across a power idiot that says, "Oh, well, Wikipedia isn't true," like I'm really afraid that I'm dealing with somebody that has never read a book because somebody told them that maybe some things in books aren't true. Like it's your job to validate the things. I find Charles W. King. How many dudes at that time could be named Charles W. King and be working for the Queen? I mean, is there two dudes with that name? Probably not. But I have to validate everything because somebody didn't link the two bios or the incident in the bio in Wikipedia. And this is my work now. I have to look at every single thing that, like this person did in their life. And I'm going to validate that I found the dad of John Muir. Seems like an interesting guy. John Muir would totally come from a William King type. Totally. And he also looks it. So, yeah. So William King is like, if we women who are made of Mary, we remember our, universal husband, I guess you could say. It's William King. So I recognize William King, but he's always named William King, like in our reality. But there's a whole bunch of, William Kings, and I recognize some of them are cuter than others, like they are totally the guy. So William King is the guy, and the person who represents the girl, or like the source of our consciousness and the person who influences our interests, is named Marie, and that's his wife, and she's grumpy and she's French. And William King, his family is French, but he has always lived in the United States, so he's like super duper, like Texas dude. So these two people don't really go together, but they're a couple beyond creation whose marital problems are always popping up into our reality. It's really weird how we live inside a simulation, but it's a simulation that is trying to answer things that are really basic and simple. Seemingly the most existential question that Pristina, our processor, is trying to use us to answer is, why are people so mean? I'm serious here. We live in a simulation that is trying to tell Pristina, why are people so mean, so that she can support Marie in her having to deal with mean people. That's it. It's just like so basic and simple. But in order to find that out, what is being put out by the three queens in service to Pristina is a whole bunch of really, 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 really awesome people who are always doing awesome things, who are always making gifts to humanity, who are always trying to come up with new ways to give us gifts before we're born. And they just like look at mean people, react to this, and try to figure out like what the heck is wrong with these people. That's what we do. We try to figure out why are people so mean. And it's really cute that Donald Trump, who's exceedingly connected to Pristina, he wants to make our country pristine. He is the one that tweeted that. And people reacted to this tweet so meanly. Like, it's total manifestation. It's really funny. So yeah, so I like there's an umbrella of culture, and I've moved beyond the umbrella of culture where I watch culture with the sound off, and I just look at the things that the people who are beyond the stage look at. So I'll look at the provenance of the queen and what it tells me about how she represents the world to the people beyond the stage, the people we're not allowed to see. I don't know if you've noticed, but since the 70s, there was a TV show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Okay, there's never been an actual representation of the true lifestyles of the rich and famous. These people don't want to be seen. We don't see them. They're never on TV. We just have fake billionaires that represent the lifestyle of the rich and famous. And these people who are sitting at the top, what we call the elites, of course they have to pretend that they have a terrible, terrible reputation, because they're sort of attracting people from beyond into our culture and, like zapping them. So they want, so all of the old world entities who are very powerful and live in their little bubble, their little system in the alternate economy, all of them have been babysat by celebrities over the last 50 years so that they could be taken care of in this moment. And that's why, because we can't see what's going on, because the media has acted like they're the best friend of our enemy, but they don't show us this enemy. They just attract this enemy to themselves, and they only show us people who have a media contract. All right, I'm supposed to do John Muir. So the people who are born the closest to him, so I have to look at, because everybody's born in a set of two, so I sort of have to, I start at the beginning of the month, and you kind of see that, oh, there's 3 and 5, they must go together. We have a Gambetta, a French attorney. We have a Hyatt, who was a zoologist and paleontologist, born in Washington, D.C. Oh, that's interesting. But John Muir was born in Dunbar, so that's probably not the guy who goes with him. See, because this is in 1838. It takes a while to cross the pond. So I sort of have to put the French and the German would go together, and then the Billings and Hyatt would go together, Billings and Hyatt being two friendly families, So April 5 and April 12 go together, April 3 and April 11 go together. If I research these people, I'm going to have 2 pictures of twins. They're twins. Then I have 12, and I have somebody from, wait. I have a German guy, a composer, and then I have a Czech guy, a composer. Okay, these 2 guys go together. Then I have a French scientist born in Cognac, Paul-Émile Lecoq de Bois-Baudran. Paul-Émile Lecoq de Bois-Baudran. What kind of a weird name is that? This doesn't ring a bell, but Lecoq is kind of cute. Okay, so William King would totally have a kid named Lecoq, because he used to laugh at this. Okay, so it has to be Paul-Émile. So I'm going to take Paul-Émile, I'm going to look for a picture of him, and we're going to see if he looks like. Open image, a new tab, so I have comparison, and then I'm going to put my dude right here. Let's look at him. Come on. Images. Oh, this is my dad's computer. My other computer died. So I can't find anything on there, and also it's very slow. Okay, so this nice. Wow. Handsome. So can you see it? Okay, you can see it on the right. Right? I can't even see your things. Hi, Frank. Hey, Sandra. So everybody's here. Hi, Janet. I'm happy that you're there. Please ask a question. If you want me to check on someone, and then I want to do a sourcing live, that somebody that is completely random, that is going to be, a surprise. So vote for somebody, and I'll do a thing. Right now we're doing John Muir, the father of the state park, or the, yeah. And we found, I'm sure Lecoq is his twin. So how the heck do I do this? I'm supposed to be able to do this. So I'm gonna copy image address. I'm gonna try to put him into my thing. If I can find it. Empty. Let's go here. No. Paul Emile Lecoq. He's gonna find it. De Beaubardin. Oh my God. As you can see, I'm the sort of person that is always making typos. And see, I have him here. Copy. Paste. There you go. Damn French name. There. Okay, so now this is my interface. I'm not supposed to use my interface. Can you see it now? Okay. So I'm going to set him up as a twin. I'm going to compare him. But wait a second. I kind of have to go get his picture, right? I had his picture. What happened? I totally had his picture. If I want to compare him, I need his picture. So at this point, as you can see, I've made it so that it's relatively quick for me to... Does that work? No, this doesn't work, right? No, this isn't it. I'm clicking everywhere. I'm totally trying not to have this. There it is. That's the picture. Where is my thing? Oh, there it is. That he's a dude. And now we compare him. There we go. Alright, are these dudes slightly similar looking? Well, they have a similar mustache. The guy on the right is really old, the guy on the left is really young. I would say that likely. Alright, so now what we do is we go back here and then we go behind him and we have Alfred Burwee, a Flemish painter. And then we have Tobias Asser, a Dutch advocate of world law. The Nobel Prize for 1911. Hey, this dude, Tobias Asser, is important. Okay, so he is the one that has the highest status in the whole thing because he did a peace thing. So I'm putting him in and we're going to go look at what he looks like. Because when I said that all of these people are purposefully made to make peace, I mean people like Tobias, basically. So does he even look like our dude? Kind of. So I have... The Hague is very important, by the way. The Hague, the home of the World Court. Very, very, very important. If you have people who are from The Hague, and this one, what? Was he he was a lawyer. See? 1838. So this dude is for sure a descendant of Dionysius Godfridus van der Kiesel, the guy, the jurist from The Hague who started delivering notices to vampires in the 18th century. So this is a story that I haven't told yet, but you know, like the all of the old world families have been closed out, but not violently. You know, they've been invited to close out and they've been offered help in order to close out. And this is from The Hague. And it's really interesting because after World War II, the Hague was doing the trials, and it's like they started preparing this in 1750. Like, I'm not even kidding. And I have the story of the original delivery of notices, because this is you have a person who represents the empress or the king or whoever has authority over the people you visit, who goes to visit them with a lawyer. So this guy probably spent most of his life going to visit old world families and telling them to close out, you know, like completely stop their lifestyle and close out. And it's kind of complicated because when you have a royal family, they have hangers on, and they're afraid of their hangers on because these hangers on are old world people from beyond the stage that don't want to be known, but they do influence the royal families. They're not going to come and influence us. They go influence the royal families. So basically, when you find a family that wants to close out, you have to help them because it has to come from everywhere. Like the sudden, everything about their life has to go get fucked up all of a sudden, you know, and you have to safeguard the people who initiated it, therefore the royal family. So yeah, there's like all the murders and the assassinations of royals in the 19th century are faked. It's the Death Takes a Holiday crew. And because it's just so that all the hangers on can be maximally upset all the time, all the time. And so in the 18th century as well, you had Prince Metternich. Prince Metternich, I never say his name right, but he reshuffled all the things, like all the borders and the alliance of the 18th century. Like, it's so hard to follow all of this, but again, organized to maximally upset people who rely on royal families for the authority and in order to conduct businesses that is not legal, or at least not legal where we're going. Because of course, the enemy of humanity likes to collect people, so they're slavers technically, and the slavery is outlawed, but not necessarily everywhere. You know, they'll always find a way to be, you know, in a loophole. You know, the enemy of humanity lives in a loophole, and then they have a blind trust in London, you know, where they put their money, and then they have an agent in Washington who annoys politicians, but they're not registered as a lobbyist. You know, this is all the people that Muir nixed in 2008. And these people are annoying. The people you never see, who seek to influence things about our life so that they could access more people, because they're people collectors. They are annoying, they are dangerous, they are relentless, and therefore you need a huge number of people to get together in order to babysit each one of them. And that is the secret society strategy. This is so complex, complicated, sophisticated, and amazing that it's kind of hard to figure out, like, where the heck do I start with this story? Like, it's I don't know where to start. I absolutely don't know where to start. Okay, so John Muir, I have my John Muir, I have Lecoq, and I have Asser. This is perfect. You don't understand. I have to validate John Muir, which is the most quintessentially, you know, like, wholesome guy, and I have to figure out if his twin is Lecoq or Asser. This is so William King. This is a joke. This is an inside joke. And I'm going to, you know, eventually work on this while I'm in bed on my iPad, because it's more complicated to do it on this computer, especially since I just, like, put it out today. I don't even know where all my stuff is. So anyhow, yeah. So that today I just wanted to do John Muir, and that's it. We looked at him, and he's Scottish, so you know, like all the people that are Scottish are kind of magic, in my opinion, anyway. So I always more interested in them. The Queen of Heaven has her favorite children born in Scotland because it is for somehow Scotland is important. You know, it's but the thing is that to me, at least if I look back into my memory of where I used to hang out, like 1,250 years ago, I wasn't hanging out in Scotland. We didn't get into Scotland until later. We were hanging out in Wales. We were living around Portishead. We were always walking around the southern part of Wales. Wales wasn't even the same back then. There was even more land back then. It was all flooded eventually, and and we just used to run around. Eventually, we walked. We were. I'm talking about before 750 of current era. You know, early Christian era in Ireland and Wales, and um, like still some Roman people hanging around, you know, Roman vestiges. So we used to live in the woods people. We were free people of the woods, and we were descendants of Christ, and we walked the land. So all that we were monks, you know. So I was in a group of like 7 or 8 people, and we just like walked around, and eventually we walked all the way up to Scotland. We went into Scotland because we sought refuge with the Picts. The Picts were perfect allies for us because we were the people who'd walked all the way from, you know, like Jerusalem basically, and we'd walked all the way to England, and that took a long time. And then we were there, and we were avoiding the Romans like the plague. There was absolutely no way we should ever talk to these people. We were trying to make friends amongst the kings, because the thing is, at that time there's just a whole bunch of regions that were fighting against each other. You know, we had to stay out of that. But eventually we made it all the way up to the Picts. And the Picts are interesting because they had never been conquered by the Romans. And so they were, you know, like a distinct culture, and they're really, really hard to access. Like it's very, very hard to go into the Highlands. And so eventually we went there, and there was like 7 or 8 of us, and we started this set, you know, the 7 first clans of Scotland. And they all have a purpose, and they all have a personality. And because we split, there was like 7 of us, and then we made 7 clans. And so my clan is the McDonald's, and the McDonald's are really cool because they're always super nice to me. For some strange reason, whenever I meet a McDonald, they're like, "Oh, you're my friend," you know. "Oh, do you want a job? Oh, I'm gonna interview you on my TV show." You know, like, what does the heck is up with the McDonald's? And whenever I go to McDonald's, it's like the only place that never treats me terrible. And it's just McDonald's. It's like the fast food restaurant, you know. So this very strange thing where my original clan is the McDonald's, and they're still being delightful always when I see them. Like Tom McDonald, for instance, he's like the ultimate McDonald. I adore him. So yeah, so that's my clan. Now the Donald made this clan for me, and I made the MacLeods for Donald. You know, like Donald Trump is a MacLeod. So Donald made the McDonald's, and Marie made the MacLeods. And so the MacLeods are a clown. They exist for another purpose. You know, they're the time traveling. I wouldn't say they're time travelers. They're just like the most careful planners of the future that you can have. So that's why they always look like they know what's going to happen, because they plan the future in advance. And then you have the McPhee. After that, they're for the king. You know, so they have their own purpose. And William, you know, like the William King, is the king. So they are for William. So this is completely secret, right? Nobody understands that the quintessential man in this realm is actually William. You know, like it's the Templars know him because they go inside and they meet him. This is the same way I've met William inside. You know, like when I asked to join our collective consciousness, he's a regular guy. You know, he's not some. He's just a regular guy trying to fix his life. And he's very, very, very well represented in Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey. Like the personality of the guy is very, very much it. Very, very bright guy. So all of the people who are in the scientific bloodline and who write a lot, they're very connected to William. So it keeps coming out of them. Yeah, where was I going with this? But anyhow. Oh yeah, the clans. So these three clans are the ones that I come across the most. And all of my boyfriends in my life, because I'm over 50, you know, I'm 53. Some people say, oh, this person is so delusional. She thinks the king is her boyfriend or whatever, you know, like stuff like that. Or the fact that Hugh Hefner is my biological father also is very unbelievable to people. So, but I'm just like, I'm 53 years old. I'm not going anywhere. I've won at life. I'm done. You know, if I died tomorrow, I'd be quite happy. Because what I've been doing over the past 4 years is looking at the provenance of the people in my life. Because growing up, I've always wondered, why is it that the people that I meet, the people that I have in my life, are so much better than the people that other people describe to me are in their life? You know, I've never really understood there. Maybe I only meet, you know, like drama queens on one side, like all the women that I know, they're always complaining about the men in their life. And I'm like, okay, so the men in my life don't do that. You know, they're all people who don't lie because why, you know? And that's the thing is I never understood why the people in my life were so wonderful. And now I've been watching it and I've been analyzing it, and I understand that my boyfriend from the past, they're all Scottish. I can research every last one of them to a Scottish origin. Most of them wear it proudly. They're like, hey, I'm Andrew, I'm Scottish, you know. but some of them, you know, like it's not that obvious. So I have to do their genealogies, ask who their parents are, you know, and then do the same thing that I do with me, but on their birthday, you know. And I've discovered that all of my boyfriends seem to be, you know, like gifts to myself, from myself in the past. And this is very, very intriguing. And what is fun about Twitter, like I'm on Twitter for the DM game, you know, you guys send me messages, and I should maybe look at my messages. And you guys are really great. You send me messages, and we start exchanging, and then we do our, you know, sourcing information, and then we realize, oh well, maybe we have siblings or cousins, or you know, there's a lot of aunts or uncles that I found on Twitter, because the people who are older than me come up as being aunts. And yeah, that's really interesting. And what I've realized is that when I meet people, they look at me and they're like, you know, and they go away. These are people who are not in the same consciousness as me, or not in my family. And then when I run into people who are somewhat related to me, they're like, they seem to understand who I am and what I'm about, but like immediately. So how could I be running into people who forever act as if they don't understand who I am, and then I go and I meet people and they're like, oh yes, I know who you are, and they immediately sort of like create a link between us, you know, or they act as if there's a link between us, and then that's kind of nice, you know, it's like a familiarity. The thing I find most attractive about people is familiarity. You know, so if I see somebody new that I've never seen before, I might get a thing of like, oh, they kind of look, you know, like something or whatever. They're kind of cute, but I'm not attracted to them. Whereas the people that I do know, that I've known for a while, I find them to be very attractive. So over the past 4 years, I've sought to not meet anybody new, aside from like people I meet on Twitter because we do research together. But I've sought to stay by myself. I live with my ex-boyfriend. I date the boyfriend before that, so I don't add new people to my life. I don't want to add new people to my life. I'm trying to figure out, like, why is it that I have a good, long-standing relationship with certain people, like the father of my daughter and like my ex, whom I was with for 12 years. So yeah, that's way more interesting. But anyhow, this may be something that we can do eventually. That would be kind of fun. But yeah, now my stomach is making so much noise. Sandra, how did I find you? Yeah, Sandra, I think that we're cousins. Tara, you're from the Davis family. This is really important. I'm very, very interested in the Davis family because Betty Davis is from that family, and she is one of the people who says she's my mom. I don't believe her, but she had an event. Like, she is one of the people that did a thing for me. And when we go through my birth set, your head is going to explode. It's so weird because I identify Dolly Reed as being my biological mother because of the tooth thing. Our teeth are crooked the same way. That's why I say it's Dolly Reed. But I've got Mildred William, I've got Betty Davis, I've got Lindsay Jones, I've got 3 people that are also saying, no, you're from me, because there's a link there. And I have to figure it out. I have to figure it out because every single woman who registered in the same week in my batch, every woman that is registered in my batch has a really interesting life story, a really interesting origin story, and they represent my old job. And my head exploded when I realized this because Betty Davis, she's Marie from heaven, she represents the Marie expression, mother. That's Bet. Lindsay V. Jones, who played who played the witness for the prosecution in the Charles Manson case. Her last name is Jones. So Jones represents my character, Mrs. Jones. And then there's Dolly Reed. Well, Dolly Reed, she represents Deborah Reed, who was the wife of Benjamin Franklin. And most of the things that I find, the gifts that I find in my life, they're from Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin put a lot of stuff in the permanent record. He put a lot of inside jokes. And he even wrote a fast seduction guide that he used to sell in his newspaper. Like, I have to find this again. He's the first, he wrote an instruction manual for men in 1780 on how to seduce women. That's Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin is a weird, kinky motherfucker. And it comes through our history. It's weird. So, yeah, so that's what I research. Like, I'm not researching, like elite people who are into evil things. No, I live beyond death, beyond abuse, beyond negativity. And I just focus on the positive things that people have actually done. I really, really do not wonder what people think because it doesn't matter. The media is making you worry about what people might be thinking, about the worst thing that could happen. Okay, the worst thing never happens, and it doesn't matter what people think. So most of media is about fluff, and it absolutely does not matter. And it's on a 24-hour cycle now. So every single day it's something different. And they will not readdress the idea they brought up yesterday. That's what the media goes on. Because they're only serving the security operations that are punking the shit out of people who are being addressed right now. People who are being arrested. So yeah, they're that's what the media does. Anyhow, I hope that you noticed the narrative change on the day of the eclipse. Total eclipse of the heart day is the day when the partisanship sailed. So that means that all the people who have no doubt about their belief, which were given to them by the media for a purpose, all of these people who are willing to go to jihad on the other side because the other side is not different, but they're wrong, they're dangerous. All of these people who they live in a bag of rocks. They're all partisans, and partisans are the people who are going to get a rough time. But again, it's not physical. It's psychological. They're going to realize that, they're living in a bag of rocks, and that the people who are dumber than a bag of rocks, they're actually straw men that don't exist. So this is how the narrative has turned, and you see the very, very first day that the narrative changed, Donald Trump comes in and he talks about his IVF initiative and how he's going to, oversee how the states are taking care of the abortion question, because he was president when Roe v. Wade was thrown out. So now all the states have to figure this out for themselves. So when Trump is reelected, see, he talked to people like adults in that clip. It was amazing, amazing. So once he becomes president again, another summer of rage is going to happen probably, because the Ghost Army does its best work by organizing fake protests. So and it's going to be state in the state. When people are creating protests in each state while the state is looking at the abortion question, it's going to be interesting. That's when the fight for life goes local, and people start to redevelop a sense of civics. I think that they're going to redevelop a sense of civics through this case, because it's something that's going to come up in every state. And yeah, so at this point, all the people who are, juggling stupidity and not really having any substance, they're going to have a hard time, because Trump is going to talk to them like adults, and they're going to freak the fuck out. So, and of course, Joe Biden talks to people like he has dementia, so he can't really construct a phrase. So I don't know. The next step is Trump, Biden, doing a debate. This could be entertaining, but I foresee that Joe Biden will try to get out of it. So, that's going to be it. And yeah, but other than that, I'm not supposed to comment on the American election because I'm Canadian. So you do what you want. It's very important that all the things that you do for yourself, and you do what you believe is best for you and for your family. That's very, very important. And yeah, I think that Americans are it's gonna be really interesting, and I enjoy the push for, let's talk about the facts, rather than obsessing about what could happen, or the controversial answer to the wrong question. No. When people start asking the right questions, heads are going to explode and things will get back to normal. And I think that it should be interesting going forward. So that's what I had to say. And I'm going to put on I'm going to put on something, and I'm going to play you the music that I created with Suno for a little while. And I'm going to eat dinner because my stomach is annoying me right now. So I hope that you had fun, and yeah, I'll go over all the chats because I don't know how to set it up so I can see it while I'm streaming. and I'll answer your questions like on Twitter or something. And you can always send me DMs. It's okay to send me DMs. Don't worry about it. If you send me like big blocks of text because you're sending me all your research, then it's gonna take me a while to get to it, and I might forget. So that's just a trick, you know. So yeah, thank you for coming. Oh, what's for dinner is it's ground beef that I don't make dinner. I'm not. Dinner is made for me. So apparently it's some sort of stir fried rice that tastes like a Korean thing. That's what I've been told. This is what I'm having for dinner, and it's on the stove and it's cold. And yeah, so have a nice evening, and I hope that I have enough energy and enough technical abilities to do this again. I want to do it soon, more often, but what can I say? Like it's kind of it's a lot of stuff. So good night.
When Jesus spoke, his words were clear.
He said we do great things, never fear.
With faith as our guide, we'll rise above.
In his name we'll spread his love.
Believe in him and you will see.
Greater works than these will be.
Jesus by our side will soar.
Doing great things forevermore.
He healed the sick and calmed the storm.
With faith in him our hearts transform.
From miracles old to deeds anew.
In Jesus' name we'll make dreams come true.
Believe in him and you will see.
Greater than Jesus' footsteps we'll reach our goal.
Through every trial side will soar. Doing great things forevermore.
With love in our hearts and faith in our soul.
With Jesus' footsteps we'll reach our goal. Through every trial and every test, in Jesus' name we'll do. When Jesus spoke, his words were clear.
He said we do great things, never fear.
With faith as our guide, we'll rise above.
In his name we'll spread his love.
Believe in him and you will see.
Greater works than these will be.
Jesus by our side will soar.
Doing great things
Forevermore, he healed the sick and calmed the storm.
with faith in him our hearts transform.
From miracles old to deeds anew.
In Jesus' name we'll make dreams come true.
Believe in him and you will see.
Greater than Jesus' footsteps
We'll reach our goal. Through every trial side we'll soar. Doing great things forevermore.
with love in our hearts and faith in our soul.
With Jesus' footsteps we'll reach our goal. Through every trial and every test, in Jesus' name we'll do our best.
Believe in him, we'll do our best. Believe in him and you will see.
Greater works than these will be.
With Jesus by our side,
We'll soar. Doing great things forevermore. Doing great things forevermore. With love in our hearts and faith in our souls.
in Jesus' footsteps we'll reach our goal.
Through every trial and every test.
Jesus' name we'll do our best. Believe in him and you will see.
greater works than these will be. Jesus by our side.